stop what you're doing right now. If you're over 25 and you're still lying awake at 2 a.m. replaying that conversation from 3 days ago, trying to control what someone thinks of you, you are literally rewiring your brain for failure. And Carl Jung, the man who mapped the human psyche, discovered exactly why this happens. Why some people break free and soar, while others stay trapped in an exhausting cycle of control that gets tighter every year. By the end of this video, you'll understand the psychological prison that's keeping 90% of people your age behind, and more importantly, how to escape it. Carl Jung wasn't just another psychologist. He was Freud's protege who broke away to discover something Freud missed. For 60 years, Jung worked with thousands of patients, CEOs, artists, teachers, parents, all struggling with the same invisible cage. He noticed something profound. The people who transformed their lives versus those who stayed stuck had one fundamental difference. It wasn't intelligence, it wasn't opportunity, it wasn't even luck. It was their relationship with control. And what Jung discovered about the human mind will change how you see everything you're doing wrong. Let me paint you a picture of your life right now. Be honest with me. You wake up and immediately check your phone, not because you're expecting anything important, but because you need to control the information flow. You need to know what happened while you were unconscious and vulnerable. At work, you find yourself rewriting emails 4 times, not because they're wrong, but because you're trying to control exactly how someone will perceive you. You stay late, not because the work requires it, but because you can't trust that it's good enough. You go home, and your partner mentions they're going out with friends, and there's this split second where your chest tightens, not because you don't trust them, but because you can't control what happens when you're not there. Nobody tells you this about being over 25. Your brain is done developing. The excuse of, "I'm still figuring it out," no longer applies. Everyone can see that you're stuck. Everyone can feel the desperation in your grip. While you're spending your mental energy controlling whether your text message sounds too eager, someone else is starting the company you dreamed about. While you're lying awake, controlling and recontrolling tomorrow's presentation, someone else is sleeping peacefully, because they've learned what you haven't. The cruel irony: the tighter you grip, the more your life slips through your fingers. Your relationships feel suffocated. Your opportunities disappear because you're too busy managing what doesn't matter to see what does. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're not broken. You're just trapped in a pattern that Jung identified over a century ago, and you don't even know you're in it. Jung discovered something that will shatter your worldview. He called it the shadow, the parts of ourselves we refuse to accept or acknowledge. This revelation changed everything. Every person desperately trying to control everything is actually terrified of their own powerlessness. Think about it. When you're micromanaging your partner, what are you really afraid of? That they'll leave. When you're rewriting that email for the 5th time, what's the fear? That you're not good enough. The need to control is never about control. It's about avoiding the feelings you're convinced will destroy you. But Jung went deeper. He realized that control is actually an addiction. And like all addictions, it requires increasing doses to achieve the same effect. Yesterday's level of control feels insufficient today. The person who checks their phone 50 times needs to check it 100 times tomorrow. The micromanager needs to manage ever smaller details to feel safe. This is why control gets more exhausting over time, not easier. You're not getting better at it, you're getting more dependent on it. Jung worked with a patient, let's call her Sarah, who tried to control every aspect of her marriage. When her husband was 5 minutes late, she'd call him. When he talked to other women at parties, she'd intervene. When he chose his own clothes, she'd suggest better options. She thought she was saving her marriage. She was actually strangling it. Jung told her something revolutionary. What you resist persists. The more she tried to control her husband's behavior, the more he pulled away. The more she fought her fear of abandonment, the more she created the very abandonment she feared. But Jung's genius insight cuts even deeper. He discovered that your unconscious mind, the 90% of your brain you're not aware of, is infinitely more powerful than your conscious will. When you try to force outcomes through control, you're using the weakest part of your mind to fight the strongest part. Think about this. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day without your control. Your body heals cuts without your instruction. Your dreams process emotions without your permission. The most sophisticated processes in your life happen when you're not trying to control them. Yet, we've been conditioned to believe that our conscious mind, the part that can only hold 7 pieces of information at once, should be running the show. Jung called the process of becoming whole individuation, but this insight will change everything. You cannot individuate while you're at war with reality. You cannot become who you're meant to be while you're fighting what is. True power, the kind that creates lasting success, deep relationships, and inner peace, doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from learning to surf the waves instead of trying to stop the ocean. Jung didn't just identify the problem, he created a solution. And I'm about to give you the exact method he used with his patients. Step 1. Shadow work. Right now, I want you to think about the thing you're most desperately trying to control. Maybe it's your partner's behavior. Maybe it's your boss's opinion of you. Maybe it's your children's choices. Got it? Good. Now ask yourself this question and answer honestly. What am I afraid will happen if I let go of this control? Write down that answer. Because that fear, that's your shadow, and it's been running your entire life without you knowing it. Jung's patient Sarah was afraid her husband would leave if she wasn't constantly managing the relationship. But when she dug deeper, the real fear was, I'm not lovable enough for someone to choose me freely. Do you see how that changes everything? She wasn't controlling her husband. She was trying to control her own feelings of inadequacy. This is the insight that breaks people free. We never control things. We only control our relationship to things. And when we try to control external circumstances to manage our internal state, we become slaves to everything outside ourselves. Jung discovered that mature humans don't try to change reality to match their emotions. They change their relationship to reality and let their emotions follow. Step 2. Conscious letting go. Jung developed a technique he called conscious non-resistance. Here's how it works. First, notice when you're gripping. Your body will tell you, tight chest, clenched jaw, that urgent feeling that you must do something right now. Second, pause and ask, what would actually happen if I let this go? Not the catastrophic story your mind creates, but what would realistically happen. Third, choose trust over fear. This is the hardest part. Act from the assumption that things will work out, not from the fear that they'll fall apart. When Sarah's husband was late, instead of calling him, she'd sit with the discomfort of not knowing. She'd breathe through the fear, and something miraculous happened. The fear passed. It always does. Step 3. Active imagination. Jung's most powerful technique. Close your eyes and visualize yourself succeeding, without forcing the outcome. See your relationship thriving because your partner feels free to choose you. See your career advancing because people trust your judgment. You're not just daydreaming, you're reprogramming your unconscious mind. You're teaching it that safety doesn't come from control, it comes from trust. But Jung understood something most people miss. Your unconscious mind learns through images and feelings, not words and logic. When you visualize yourself succeeding through flow rather than force, you're speaking its language. You're literally rewiring neural pathways that have been keeping you trapped. Jung's patient Sarah stopped trying to control her husband. She stopped calling when he was late. She stopped managing his social interactions. She stopped choosing his clothes. Want to know what happened? He started coming home early because he wanted to. He started checking in because he cared, not because he was obligated. He started dressing better because he felt free to express himself. The marriage she almost destroyed with control became stronger than ever because she finally gave him room to love her freely. Modern example. I know a CEO who was micromanaging her team into the ground. Every decision had to go through her. Every email was scrutinized. Her company was hemorrhaging talent and stagnating. She applied Jung's method. She identified her shadow fear. If I'm not controlling everything, people will see I'm not qualified to lead. She started letting go. She delegated real authority. She trusted her team's judgment. And within 6 months, her company doubled its profits. Why? Because she freed up her mental energy to focus on vision and strategy instead of wasting it on micromanagement. I'll share something personal. 2 years ago, I was trying to control every aspect of my content creation. Every word, every edit, every comment response. I was exhausted and my creativity was dying. I applied Jung's shadow work. My fear. If I'm not perfect, people will see I'm a fraud. When I let go of that control, something beautiful happened. My content became more authentic. My audience grew faster. My creativity exploded. Because I stopped fighting myself. Jung understood something that most people miss. The people who seem to have it all figured out aren't controlling more, they're controlling less. If you master this principle by 30, you will have a 10-year advantage over your peers. While they're exhausting themselves trying to force outcomes, you'll be in flow. While they're fighting reality, you'll be dancing with it. But this runs deeper than success, though success will come. This is about understanding a fundamental truth about human nature. We are not separate from life, trying to control it from the outside. We are life, expressing itself through our unique form. When you stop trying to control life, you discover something extraordinary. Life has been trying to live through you all along. Your job isn't to force outcomes, it's to get out of your own way and let your authentic nature emerge. Jung knew something profound. Your psyche wants to be whole. It wants to individuate. It wants to express your unique genius. But it can't do that while you're strangling it with control. The difference between success and significance is this. Success can be forced, temporarily, through control. Significance emerges naturally when you align with your true nature. I want you to try something for the next 7 days. Pick one thing you're trying to control and let it go. Just one. Maybe it's checking your partner's social media. Maybe it's rewriting emails multiple times. Maybe it's staying late at work because you don't trust that it's good enough. Let it go for 1 week and watch what happens. You'll be shocked by the results. If this video resonated with you, if you felt that recognition in your chest, that "oh my God, that's me" moment, subscribe for more Jung psychology that actually works in the real world. And comment below what's the one thing you most need to stop controlling. Be honest, your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Remember, the people who seem to have it all figured out aren't controlling more, they're controlling less. They've learned what Jung knew 100 years ago, and what you now know too. The cage door was never locked. You just needed to stop gripping the bars long enough to notice it was open. Now go live freely.